Pause. Okay, got a message here. Hello, everybody got their ears on? All right, come on into the room. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're able to join me today. And I don't know if you just automatically muted, but I see you here. See you joining. Who's good with Zoom? Who knows Zoom pretty well? Raise your hand. Or say so. I'm not recording yet. Tim Hampton, you good at Zoom?
I'm okay. I'm 2 minutes from my house though, so as soon as I get home, I can help you out.
Okay, good. Thanks. All right. Hello, Toylan.
Morning.
Morning. How you doing?
I am okay. How are you?
You stable somewhere? Or you on the road too?
I'm stable. I just got two Zoom calls going on, one for you and one for somebody else. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna manage. And the other one, and they pretty loud. It's a whole bunch of women. We talking about agriculture, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this.
My goodness. Okay. All right. Your attention is a little split there.
Yes.
Okay, Devon, how you doing? I don't know if Devon can speak up, but
I'm doing good.
good. Good.
I'm
Good
at
to
work right
see
now.
you. Okay, okay. So we know you have your ears on and it's all good. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Glad to have you all join me today. So in your invitation, there's a bit of an agenda. It's kind of the long version. I'm gonna hit the highlights. I'm gonna talk about well, this is the preview. I'm gonna talk about the course, what I'm gonna cover, and what people will come away with taking the masterclass. Masterclass is 3 parts. And so I'll get into, talk about the herbs, but I'll also talk about the business. So one thing that's going to be really different about this is the fact that the business part of this is going to be emphasized as well. I know that's essential. Over the past couple of years, I've been working on and developing, defining and refining this even more so that people are going to get what they need. Hey, let me do this. I'm going to start recording. I am going to do this though. You know what? Kim, I'm making you co-host. That will help me in the event that someone pops up who needs to be admitted, and I'm presenting, and
Okay.
I don't want to have to go between the two. The other is that in the event that someone needs to be muted, there's background noise or something, please do that so that I
Let's do
don't
that.
for my presentation. Okay. So that's good. So trying to give people a few minutes to get in here as well. But again, overview, what the class is going to involve. I'll tell you, it's really interesting. I know a lot of people say they hate their jobs, they don't like their jobs, they kind of tolerate it there. just making it to retirement or whatever, and there's a lot of turmoil and things going on. I love this work. I really love the work. And normally I don't say love in relationship to things and roles and functions, but this is so connected to people and helping people so much that, you know, the feeling I get is love, is a compassion. I'm as excited about this work in 2025 as I was in whatever, when I there's never a time, there will never be a time in our lives where health and wellness will not be important. And it's like, why am I doing this even into what could be my retirement years? It's because it's needed more now than ever before. If we look at all the turmoil and everything that's going on with the government and the threats to Medicaid and Medicare, and we look at the fact that our population is really unhealthy, even though we spend more money on healthcare in the United States than any other country, any other civilized nation, but we have amongst the worst outcomes. People get sicker sooner and they die faster, and particularly in people of color, there are just health disparities, which means that cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and all types of illnesses impact us even more. And that should be taken as a warning for everybody, because people of African descent should be the healthiest people in the United States, at least. I'm not going to say in the world, because I'm sure there are some areas in Africa that will rival, and in other places that will rival the US, but we should be the healthiest people in the United States. We shouldn't just be the best athletes. And you see that in, you know, with 13% of the population, but look what happens in sports and in basketball and football and track and field and all types of things. Look at that. That's part of the genetic health that we have, that we could have, and it'll be expressed if it's directed, if it's nurtured, if we pay attention to it. Okay. But when we look at this and say, why is it we have high rates of chronic ailments? Is because we're doing some things that are wrong. Okay. We've gotten off track somewhere. Okay. We're out of our element. Our diet, our lifestyle, our ways of being, what we've adopted, what we've changed coming from Africa to the Americas, coming from the, you know, even from the Caribbean to the Americas. We've gotten off base, and we need to get back on track, and it's going to take the effort of a lot of people to do that. I liken people of color to the canary in the coal mine. And if you've never heard that expression, it comes back, or it comes from an activity that the coal miners performed, whatever, some couple generations or so ago, where the coal miners would take a canary, put it in a cage, and go into the mine. And the canary would sit up on the perch. And if that canary fell off the perch and died, they would know the gases that they couldn't readily smell or detect otherwise were too high, and it's time to get out of there, because that meant that people would start dying. So the canary was the early warning system. Okay. So when we see what should be the strongest people, the only people that were brought to the Americas, we see the strongest people in the United States or traditionally the strongest people. When we see people of color in the state that we're in, dying early, getting sicker, and that, then we should be really alarmed. Okay, we should really be concerned about that. And for a couple of reasons. One, again, it's like the early warning system. And then the other is that if you got a population of people who are really ill, then that does impact our healthcare system and the investment. It's like if you can solve the problems of the people who are representing as the sickest people, if you can decrease those costs, again, prevent illnesses and do some other things that are innovative, then it's going to be good for everybody. It's good for the entire system. Okay, because as you know, with car insurance or health insurance, it's the people who are sickest that use the most, and it costs the most expensive, and that makes it expensive for everybody else, whether a corporation is paying for it or people paying for it. And now those things are being threatened as well. So what does that have to do with herbology? What does that have to do with this Medicinal Herbology Masterclass? Well, here the context of this is that when we understand the natural ways that we can use in order to preserve, protect, promote, and support our health and wellness, that's good for everybody. That means that if we understand what we can do for ourselves and our family members, then we're going to be more healthy. Okay, from the very youngest to our elderly. Okay, and that's part of our tradition, right? Before there was universal health care and whatever, whether we call it Obamacare, whatever. Then when we didn't have that, like my father, I won't say my father and mother didn't have healthcare insurance for a long time. My father didn't have it until he was in the service and then started working for the government. My mother, it was a while before she had, health insurance per se. What did we do, and what did they do? They took care of themselves. They knew what foods to eat. They knew how to do spring cleansing and fall cleansing, and use castor oil packs and enemas, and herbs and those types of things were very common and ordinary. We might not have liked to take cod liver oil, castor oil, 3-6s or whatever, but those things were readily available. People knew how to use them. Now, fast forward just 2 generations or so later, and people don't know anything about that. If I ask the average young person today, do you know anything about, have you ever had castor oil, cod liver oil? For a long time through Detroit Holistic Center, I'd ask people, have you ever had an enema? And they're like, no, that's something foreign to them. But that was one of the things that my mother did and our parents and grandparents did to clean us out if we were sick. To get an enema can reduce a fever and do all kinds of things. So I used to get the hot toddies and those types of things. And these things were relatively common. Every family didn't do it in the neighborhood, but a lot of people from the South did. We've lost that. And that comes from Africa. That comes from the Caribbean. That comes from other places. You'll see it more commonly practiced in other countries than here. So we're reclaiming our healing heritage. The goal is to generate and maintain generational health, not just generational wealth. And we're not doing that great in terms of generational wealth, but of the two, if we don't have generational health, then the wealth is not going to be there anyway. Because the number one reason why people go bankrupt is because they lose their health, not because they lose their job. It's because they lose their health, and you almost have to become destitute in order for the government to help you. And it's really costly. If people think that it's expensive to be healthy, oh, health food is so expensive. Oh, organic is so expensive. Oh, this is expensive. Well, if you think that's expensive, then try being sick. Anybody would tell you it's like, those hospital bills, whether it's from childbirth or prolonged illnesses, or someone loses their job or their insurance or something like that. Those hospital bills are what take people down. So addressing things through herbs, through diet, through exercise, through fitness, through a holistic concept. And even though I say this is medicinal herbology, it's more, I frame it in a holistic context and say, it's the herbs, yes. And food is medicine, and herbs are medicine, and there are applications for herbs that are medicine, but it's all, but it's other things that we're doing as well. Okay. So this is just a single approach, it's more of a holistic approach. Okay. So what do we be, what will I cover? Some of the things that came up on social media, and the things that I'm asked are about what goes into the class. What does a master class, what constitutes a master class, and so on. It's to address some of the problems that we have. And one major problem is confusing, contradictory, incomplete information about herbs. Okay, so in this class, we'll understand and clarify what are medicinal herbs, what part of the plant is used, how do you get good sources of it. All plants are not medicinal. All herbs are not medicinal, and not all to the same extent. And even the sourcing is important. So many times people will be interested, they'll hear something in the news or online, and someone say, oh, X plant is good for you. And people go online and search and go on Amazon or whatever, and they'll look for that, or they'll go to a store and they say, oh, I heard this is good, I heard that is good. And it doesn't have context. So identifying medicinal herbs, identifying how to take them for particular, I'm going to say body systems, because so often people want to name disease and say, what's good for diabetes? Okay. Or what's good for high blood pressure, this, that, or other thing. And when really what we're talking about, in the way that I was trained in this area, is that we look at the body system. So I make distinctions and help you distinguish the body systems. Is it the circulatory system, the digestive system, the immune system, the nervous system, the endocrine system, musculoskeletal? So we have body systems. And so if you know what to do to feed, to nourish, to support, to uplift, to help the body system, then whatever illnesses that go along in that system tend to be balanced, remedied. Okay, I'm avoiding saying cured. Even FDA isn't going to be listening to this, but what I'm talking about. You got to avoid saying cured. And a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people, oh, I cure blindness, and I cure this, and I cure diabetes, that sort of thing. What is the context of that? How is this happening? Okay. How does it make sense that somebody can do all these things, or these few herbs can do all these things? If there is a healing attribute that goes with an herb, it's because it activates, builds, cleanses, supports a body system. Okay. And therefore it gets into balance. That's what we're looking for, homeostasis or balance. Okay. I hope I'm not going, I'm going to have a time that you'll be able to ask some questions as well for clarification. But so understanding systems, understanding and getting past a lot of the confusing information that's out there, because you got different approaches for different things. And there's some reasons for that. And then some of it is just, some of it is hype, some of it is hustling, some of it is scamming. Knowing what's safe and what and how to prepare things as well. There's a difference between teas, tinctures, extracts, etc. So there might be an herb that's good for a condition, but you don't need it in a tea. You need more of a tincture. You need an extract. You need to apply it internally, externally. You need to apply a certain amount over a certain period of time. So what we call dosaging in application is important. Like education, it's not just the education, it's the application that's important. So we'll get past that as well. And then, or clarify that. And then if you want to help your family members, and that's where I started. You know, I did not see this as a profession. I did not see this turn that I made in my career when I started in holistic health. I absolutely didn't. That developed and happened over time. First thing I did is I looked at how this was going to benefit me. I went on cleanses and fasts. I listened to Dick Gregory. I read books. I took some classes that were more introductory, and then I got into it more deeper and more deeply. And it just amazed me. And I'm like, wow, everybody should know this. Why don't people know this? Why are people getting so sick? So I was helping family members. There are a number of children in my family. And, you know, at the time, my parents were still around. My father had health concerns. I wanted to help my family members first. Okay. And then, and as I was doing that, I was getting the proofs and saying, okay, that does work for this and that. And so my sharing became more, hey, this is what I did from, you know, my daughter. This is what, you know, I did with my niece who had asthma and respiratory, and my nephew and allergies. And I learned about food. The more I learned, the more I shared. And if that's all that would have happened, that would have been significant. But I went beyond that and started and worked with a mentor and worked with people who knew more than I did, so that I could be of greater assistance to my family members, my loved ones. Then people at work started asking me about it. Okay. And that's what the first time they called me Dr. Brown. I had very little education, relatively education at that point, but I was sharing healing and pain therapy and things with other people. And that grew, and people grew to trust me because I'd do something, you know, there was someone had a headache and I'd help to alleviate that, and things work. And if you have something that you understand and you share it with other people and it works, then you get a certain amount of credibility with that too. And that's part of the process as well. And I'll talk about more as we talk about the business aspect of this, or for those people who are concerned about looking at this health as a business, is it having more impact with more people. It's like if you could help a few people, or you could help hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, what would you rather do? If you can do something for humanity, that's admirable. I mean, it doesn't have to be a price tag attached to that. That's priceless in some respects, but when there is profit that comes from that, when it does generate more than enough money to expand and help people that perhaps otherwise could not afford certain things, when you can be philanthropic and generous and contribute to the good of the planet, people on the planet, and humanity all together, that's great. Okay. Drugs proliferate, alcohol proliferates, tobacco proliferates, and that those businesses exist because they're profitable, not because they're good for people. So we need to do those things equally with health and wellness, so that the underlying message or the overlying message is more about health and wellness, and people have more options in that. People have opportunity to support themselves, their family members, and their communities, and do great things by doing the right things, doing things that are legal and moral and ethical and beneficial. Okay. But I know a lot of people initially they don't have confidence. They're like, okay, I heard about this, that. I'm not a professional. I'm not an herbalist, or how do I get there? I will help. Okay. I will help people. I will help you to get to a point where you can be more comfortable, confident in what you're sharing as well. That's one of the goals, is to be your coach to kind of get you to that point. What help? Okay, income for a lot of people I know is a motivator. If I get this certification, if I get this training, what can I do with it? So it's the difference between doing something kind of as a hobby or as an interest and doing it professionally and transitioning that. Fortunately, for example, the health and wellness industry, the natural products industry is growing from 300 billion to 400 billion in less than a decade. Money is going to be made. Businesses are going to be started and grow and everything. As a result, we should be beneficiaries to that. Okay. We're going to help the condition of our community by taking part of that as well. I'm going to share at least 4 key areas where people can generate income for them, that will support themselves and their family members, much less potentially impact future generations. Because I've been working with this, for decades, and I've been going to conferences, and I see the people who are making the impact and what that's doing for other communities. Let's see. How do we support safe, sustainable methods of healing? See, when we do something natural, when you use herbs instead of a drug, okay, even if the herbs cost a little bit more out of pocket because you got the drugs that are being subsidized, then you're doing something for the planet. Because if there's something that grows out of the ground and you cut it or it's harvested and it's packaged and you make it into a product and take it, it doesn't harm your body, it doesn't harm the environment. That's major impact. And so it's safe, it's more sustainable and than a drug approach. And more people are moving towards that. That's actually preference. People were amazed because my center was supported by people who were paying out of pocket instead of insurance. We saw over 60,000 people. At a point, I had 18 on staff. Why is that? Because people were ready, willing, and able to pay for a natural solution to their health concern. People are invested in this like never before. And I've seen this for a good 4 decades. What else? Okay, so what are we covering? 1, core herbs, the features, botanical names, body systems, and those types of things. The different ways that the herbs are prepared: teas, tinctures, extracts, poultices, salves, etc. Because again, there are different approaches, different applications for different conditions. There will be more in level 2. There'll be more herbs and some herb combination. It won't get really complex. So oftentimes simplicity is better. There's some people say, oh, I heard that this is good for the kidneys and that's good for the kidneys, and I'm going to put them all together. And they try to come up with their own thing in there, and it doesn't work. So we're going to initially introduce the simpler combinations and what people can do in order to get a result. And here's something that's really key. And for you to find one thing that you can help people with. That's what you want to do, and become really good at that. You don't have to know 1,000 herbs. You don't have to take decades in order to learn this, in order to really drill down and address one problem. One of the biggest problems that I see with students and people who are doing something in this realm is they try to do too many things. I'm going to do food. I'm going to do herbs. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do something for hair growth. Too many things. When businesses that really do well and have impact, and people who start with that normally start with one thing. Start with one thing foundational. They have a reputation for that. It works, and then they expand from there. Now, I also talked about the monetization part, coaching, counseling, consulting, what's ethical, what's not. Oh, it's something I'm really excited about, and I've been working with quite a bit, is technology and AI, artificial intelligence, so that the methods by which we help people and do things is improved. So think of AI this way, because I know some people are for it, some people against it, some people don't know. A lot of people haven't really used it. Think of this. Say, if you have an endeavor, there's something that you want to do, an event you want to plan, some impact you want to, whatever, something you want to organize, you want to do something to help the world, right? If you had 5 assistants that were PhD level, they were pros in terms of marketing and sales and organization and research and those types of things, would you be successful? Absolutely. Especially if they're available all the time, 24/7, they can even work in the background. You'd be more successful. This is what AI is representative of. Okay. Artificial intelligence means we can leverage technology to do things that we normally would have had to pay someone to get the help to do that. So I'm going to show you how I utilize AI and technology in terms of writing, creation, development, again, creating impact, having greater impact. If I would have had these tools when I had my center, I could have gotten a lot of things, a lot of things would have happened more quickly. We would have been able to help more people. So the ability to reach people through social media, and then again, utilize technology and AI is just, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. It really, really means that the average individual can win in a big way that they could not have done in the past. So it's going to be clarity, how to use and what to use, confidence in terms of making remedies. And everybody's not going to necessarily make the remedies, but understanding how they're made and what goes into it, even if you have a company that you work with, then that makes remedies, there'll be credibility. The Holistic Training Institute is a state of Michigan licensed school. Okay. So we've been licensed by the state of Michigan since 1999. I enhanced initially I used to teach a few things, and then I enhanced the curriculum. So there's a lot more that we can do, but we'll be able to do a lot more with the help of other people. I want to train people. I can recruit people who have subject matter expertise, and I will be doing some of that as well, or more of that as well. But I also want to train people who are going to help to reach other people as well, who see a bigger vision and say, yeah, we can train the healers in every home and every family, and we can do something about drug use and alcohol use and suicide and physical abuse and all types of ills that we have within society. Initially the certificate is, kind of a show of, hey, I did some study, and some due diligence, and there's some things that I know. A lot of people who are out here, that it's like, if you ask them say, what's your background? What'd you do? How many people have you helped with this? And you would be amazed. If they tell you the truth, you'd be amazed at the answers that you'll get. So with this, I've been studying and working with this again over 40 years. It does take, reading books. I hear people talk about, against reading books. I meditate. I got, whatever. I can't teach you how to meditate and download some answers. Okay. And with research in comparison, you can you can see if other people, if this has been thought before, what have other people done? You know, it'll confirm or kind of deny the track that you're on. There's the amazing things that you can learn, and when you read, when you study as well. I'll share some of my favorite books. I'll share my sources. I'm not going to gatekeep. I'll say, hey, this comes from this comes from that. That's where I found this. There's no skin off my nose. I want you to win. When one candle lights another, it loses nothing, right? So 6 weeks. So we're going to go 6 weeks. Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be level 1 and level 2. And this will actually be good for people who've taken level 1, level 2 with me before, or people who have not studied with me before as well, because every iteration actually is a bit different, because I've learned something new and different as well. And sometimes reinforcement is like you're going to hear things in a different way. So there's opportunities there. Secondly, for those people who say, hey, Dr. Brown, I want to do the education. Okay. I know that you're not going to do this forever. And, you know, it's like, while you're here, I want to assist and help fill a spot there. So this work continues on for generations, because typically our healers pass on, and then they don't pass along a system of education. I want the Holistic Training Institute should continue even after I retire and then expire, in that order. Let's see. So 6 weeks. It's not gonna be a large group. It's not gonna be 30 people. In the group. It's gonna be interactive. I've got a platform called Fresh Learn. Some of you are on it, some of you are not. So the recordings will be available. I'll do more PDFs and those types of things to reinforce the learning, the systems, and those types of things as well. And so it's good. This will benefit people who are beginners, intermediate. It doesn't matter if you're quiet or introverted. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have a background in this. You need to have a heart for healing and helping people, a desire to learn, and then to apply. And then we're going to find that one thing that you can kind of drill down and address. So one thing initially. Okay. I know, even though people say, oh, well, I got all these things going on in my family. There's all kind of things that need to be helped. Yeah, but start with one. Trust me. Let's see. Clarity, a path. Let's see. What's covered, schedule. Okay. So I'll be going from 6 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, Wednesday is level 1, level 2, level 3 is more about herbs, and it's the business side of it though as well. Fine, again, it's real good to have information, but if it's generating income, I've done network marketing. I've been at the top of the leaderboard and whatever income and stuff like that for about 6 different network marketing companies. Why have I been successful in it? Because I just kind of, every time they had some education, I'm taking the education and then the application. Education application. I've traveled, I've been on trips and this and that. So I've seen network marketing. I've done private label distribution. I've done, kind of some retail types of things as well. So I've marketed products and solutions in different ways through my center. So we do coaching and consulting, and then here are products. Okay. I just have never done anything online in terms of product distribution. So again, the business part of that is going to be, again, the main opportunities, how people are winning in this, and some options. So whether a person wants to make a few $1,000s or something like that, over time, or they want to make substantial income. Okay. I'm going to address, I'll tell you more in the class what types of income that we were doing through the center, and how I did with network marketing. It was substantial. Okay. That's what I'll say. I mean, a center that I had 3 buildings, over 3,000 square feet, we impacted over 60,000 people. how did that happen? How did that grow? Because I started from scratch. I didn't have a client when when I first started in 1987, and they grew by 2020. It was 60,000 or better. And then let's see. Okay, I do want to give you an opportunity to ask questions for those people who have questions as well. And thanks for the notes they got there too. I know some people need to get out of here or be out at 12 o'clock. Let's see. So the classes are slated to start the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with a break in between. Those hours, for some, go pretty quickly. There'll be a fair amount of information in there that covers approximately 50 herbs, more or less, and again, the various attributes of those herbs as well, so people know what is historically is done for what. Again, no diagnosing, no prescribing. Question is what is the cost? The 3 levels are $8.99. Okay. Again, that's level 1, level 2, level 3. Certificate upon completion. 2 hours each evening. Over 6 weeks will be finished before the holidays. And then, okay. Okay. So, and there is, I'm trying to think, I think I have the link attached there for people, if you got the email, the link for people to register as well. But if you didn't get that for one reason or another, then let me know. And for those people who need to, if they need to break it into 2 parts or something, payments or something like that, we can do that as well. If you're taking it before, there is a discount on the cost. And I also say this: if you want to assist to get a deeper level of learning, to get kind of more into my head and to understand how things go, then that possibility is open as well. I always like to have assistants, and I always like people who are more into the educational in the background part and want to go deeper. Okay. Again, I've been doing this a long time, and I want to leave a legacy for those that will continue this. Let's see. Okay. This is recorded, so for people who are not here, and I'll make it available for people who want to review. If they want to review this, you see a need to review this as well. I'm going to encourage you to support the Holistic Training Institute. So 1, I want to see you in the class. 2, I want you to support the Holistic Training Institute. What's the goal and the mission of the Holistic Training Institute? Training healers in every home, in every family. There is not there's not a concerted effort in society to address, or I'll say an effective system of addressing the health disparities that are happening in our society and community in the United States in particular, especially amongst people of color. Now, and I emphasize that because of the disparities, and because if we look to our traditions and we look to what's happening with the government, we're going to see big gaps there that are just perpetuating the problem. I believe training healers in every home and every family, for you to understand what to do to manage your health, your loved ones, and your community, is the solution, is the only real solution. Otherwise, we're going to be subject to more drugs and more surgery and more pain and more errors that occur that result in suffering and death. Okay? So we can do better. We can reclaim our health and wellness. Let's see. Other questions. You want to enroll, then I believe there is a link. Otherwise, I can be reached at naturopathictraining@gmail.com.
Alert from calendar. Research and create content.
It's naturopathic.
Alert from calendar. Make and post video on social media. Alert from calendar. Do a health video on YouTube and Facebook.
Gosh.
Alert from
Okay.
calendar.
Okay.
Write my book daily, at least 20 minutes.
Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Anyway, let me know. You want to get registered for the class? You want to take the class? You got some further questions? Then I'll be glad to address those. If you want to set up a call, about 10-15 minute call or something with me, then we can do that. Okay. All right. So we are getting close to the time here. We got about 9 minutes. Any questions? You can either put them in chat, or you can unmute if it's a little long. Kim, did I answer your questions?
Yes, you answered everything. Thank you very much.
Okay. Devon? Oh, Devon said it, or okay. All right, I'm going to close out here. I thank you for your time, and hope to see you in class soon, or hope to speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.